when you were at the Etihad to watch Burnley at the weekend,
Yeah.
That result aside perhaps, do you feel they've turned a corner in recent weeks?
Definitely, yeah. The results they've had and the performances they've had says that. And we know we're up against a team that's going to come here and fight for the three points. As every single team in the Premier League they'll cause you different problems. But of course the physicality of Burnley, the front two, I think we got to be ready for them. But we've turned the corner ourselves. I think we looked really good against Arsenal defensively. I think we defended the box really well, so that's going to be important against Burnley as well.
Jesse Lingard, you've known him since he was a kid. How impressed have you been with the way he's progressed? And not only that, but he's probably one of the most important players in your team at the moment. Would you agree?
Jesse's he's got energy. He's got a steel about him. He can play in different positions. He can play in the midfield three. He can play off the front. He can play up either side. And he knows this club, and when you sometimes in training you see him and Marcus, they link up with sometimes Mason, sometimes Chongi, and the young kids. It's lovely to watch, and I'm so pleased for him because when he made his debut against Burnley in the reserves, he was a tiny little kid, and that just missed out on the youth team because they played a youth cup the day before. That's why he played for me in the reserves. He didn't play. So his development has been fantastic.
Ollie, obviously the game's the main focus, but there's a lot of talk around the transfer window with the deadline closing. Yeah. Matteo Darmian's one of those players that's been spoken about a lot. Can you see him staying at the club this month?
At the moment, I can see everyone staying at the club because no deal's been done with anyone, I think. But then again, there's still a few more days, and. But I'm not too involved in the negotiations. So whatever happens. It'll be good to get the window closed so we can just focus on the matters and the squad and just improving the ones who stay here.
You've given young players a chance in your short amount of time you've been at the club. Andreas Pereira started the season winning his first cap for Brazil and is now struggling for game time, or has been before your arrival. Can you see him going out on loan? I mean, would that be beneficial?
No, I can't see him going out on loan because Andreas has done fantastic in training. He's ever since I've come back. Obviously, I've kept in touch with Warren, who had him in the reserves. I've known about Andreas from before, and he's a player that you could see play quite a few games for us towards the end of the season.
The players are having fun on the pitch. Are you having fun doing the job you're doing?
Yeah, of course. I love it, and it's what you want. We've had some fantastic results, some great performances, and the improvement I can see in many aspects. But since we started, just from Tottenham to Arsenal, for example, the way we've improved the structure, the way the ideas, we get to know each other more, and they get to know me, what I want from the team. The first few games, everyone just said it's just about attacking, but it's the other part I've been very happy with because we've not conceded many chances.
I wonder, in this stage when we talk about British managers and there being sort of a lack of them, if you like, do you see yourself as a Norwegian manager or a British manager?
I see myself as a Man United product, to put it that way, because I started my career as a coach here. I've done my badges over here, so and the biggest part of my football life has been here in Manchester.
Ollie, there's a lot of talk at the moment about young players staying at their clubs or maybe going overseas to develop. Manchester United's always been acutely aware of the need to develop its own players. It's something you pay particular attention to.
It's something that you need to pay attention to because it's a very difficult gap, and it's been spoken about, written about so many times. The gap from, say, under 18s till you get into the first team. That gap there, when players nowadays, they get a bit more impatient. than before, and they want to move earlier. But what is the best way or pathway for people to get into the first team of the top 5 or 6 teams? It's a difficult one, because some teams in the lower leagues, they don't really play the way you want them to play. It's about maturity. You've seen some players going to Germany to play there, and then to get the next step, or to come back again or take the next level. Sancho is a good example. For example, he went to the Bundesliga, then he gets into the national team. It's a difficult one, and because I've been in the middle there with the reserves, and you got to try to prepare the players to be ready to play for Man United's first team. It's not easy in the reserves. It's hard. It's a very difficult way, and there's many hours spent discussing the pathway, to put it that way.
There's an argument that someone like Pogba, for instance, if he'd have stayed at Manchester United, when he came back, wouldn't have been the same player at that age, because he wouldn't have had the same.
Well, I'm not sure about that, because with the top talents that most of them, they just drop out. They jump over the reserves when you're at the top. When you know, like Giggsy did, he didn't play in the reserves. He just went straight into the first team. Paul probably would have. He had 6 or 7 games in the reserves under me, and that was it. He would have probably got into the first team if he'd stayed. But I don't think he can look back on his development and say I should have done something different, because he's a World Cup winner, plays well for Man United's first team now.
Ole, with all that in mind, how tempting is it for you to kind of blood the likes of Mason Greenwood, that many people are aware of? Obviously, he's just still a kid, but obviously a very talented one.
Yeah, we have quite a few talents in that youth team that you'd like to see, and you probably will see at some point before next season, because that's what it's about now for me as well, to put the club and to put the team in a good position when at the end of the season now, how do we look like, what do we look like next season? And Mason, Jimmy Garner, Ethan, there's quite a few in that reserve team that do well. It's just about the right time. We've got players now, Alexis, Rom, Juan, who didn't play against or haven't played so much lately. They're 3 players you got to jump ahead of as well, and they are quality, and we're here to get results as well.
Did you just say then that you're planning for next season? You said what we're going to look like next season.
Yeah, like what Man United are going to look like next season. With or without me, it doesn't really matter, because I'm here now to, as part of that, to prepare the team for next season. But of course, that means doing well now.
Watch my documentary exclusively on MUTV.
Eric Bailly, L'Elephant d'Afrique, exclusive on MUTV.